Aquarius, how you doing? So I thought I would do you next as I'm going through the channel, looking through views and comments and that kind of stuff. So I really do appreciate your support, and that's why you're next. So I really do appreciate that. And if you can continue to do the same thing and give us a thumbs up or hit the bell is also very important. But everything that you can do for the channel, I really do appreciate it. And you're next. So let's have a look. So this is going to be from the 15th until the 31st of January. So what we're going to do is we've changed things up. So I've also got the moment before deck. So we're going to have to look at things before and then during and then after as well. So we've got different decks. So we're going to use the before and after, and then also the normal Rider-Waite for during. Okay, so the time presently. So before, presently, after. Okay, so we're going to look at the timeline of what's happened within the relationship or your dynamics of whatever I can use. But I've only used 3 or 4 cards of these just a moment ago when I done the Leo reading. So I thought I would give it a whirl. So let's have a look. So Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising and Venus, show me what happened before in the relationship factor of their lives. What happened in Aquarius's life before? What's happened before? So something stopped. The relationship possibly stopped. There is no Hierophant in this one either. There's no Hierophant. I haven't seen these cards yet, trust me. So there's nothing stopping. So there was something stopping you, but I think that the relationship started to heal. You got 4, okay? So something started to happen where you realized that in order to transform this relationship, that it just all of a sudden stopped. You might realize that something could have been very stubborn in your energy, which could have been Taurus energy, but there was a standstill. It's kind of like a standoff and a standstill. So kind of like nothing, someone kind of like it ended, in a cycle ended, okay? Let's see, but Scorpio energy is definitely here. Let's see, Aquarius, something wasn't what happened before. So what happened before is that you did unite for a period of time and that you got together with a soulmate, but it felt like it wasn't quite going as far as what you wanted it to. Okay, there could have been some kind of overindulgent in food or alcohol or drugs. I'm not picking up drugs. Drinking, but this is 3 also. So there could have been like a lot of like family interference of people talking. Okay, so you possibly had a date. Okay. And that the date went okay, but it was very difficult to communicate with the person at the time. There might have been a lot of, there might have been talk about something ending, okay, where they possibly decided to leave or you left. But it more than likely ended after this date that you went out on, okay? Because there was good times and bad times is what I'm picking up. Good times and bad times. I think there was a lot to do with someone's vibration was up and down, up and down. What happened before? Show me Aquarius. What happened before? Relationship. Okay, yeah, eyes wide shut. Wow, this is a strange card. You got the 7 of Cups. So someone had, like, they took all their options away from you. It feels like you've taken some. They've taken someone's options. You got Scorpio quite a bit as well. But everybody in life at the moment, it feels like this person is just trying not to see something. They're trying not to witness something. 7, 8, 9, 10. Definitely Piscean as well, but it feels like what's happened is that this person chose you. It feels like they chose you and they wanted to compromise and that they wanted to talk, but it feels like someone doesn't, because they weren't willing to compromise on an option that they'd already taken. Okay, something was taken from them a lot. Something was taken from them. Because they haven't got an option in this 7. There is nothing there. They're just trying not to witness it. It's kind of like I'm blind. It was a bit like the blind leading the blind. There was a date, but I think that it was, you chose to go out on a date, but then all of a sudden everything felt empty inside. Like empty. Someone feels empty. Empty. was dreaming a lot about loads of different things, and they were dreaming about lots of things, but they were also dreaming that someone could have been in a third-party relationship. But I think that the person possibly was dreaming a lot, but what they did is they went back to, well, they went back to 3. Okay, so you got the King of Swords. The King of Swords is willing to take an offer, is definitely willing to listen to the truth in this card, definitely willing to use the truth. Okay, but I think like the truth, someone was wanting to know the truth and communicate with someone that wasn't physically opening up. I think the other person was fearing that something was like someone was choosing work and their career more than the other person, that they needed their attention and they wanted to go out on a date and they wanted to set something up. But I think that you or the other person chose work over the relationship, and that it felt that it was not quite going as far as what it should have done. Okay, the King of Swords was willing to listen, but he's very tired in this, you know, because he more than likely runs his own business and his own clock, but he was not willing to open his eyes to something that the partner wanted, which is to go out on a date and to have more time. But it felt like that they were requiring a lot of sleep, because it feels like sleep. Death is also like sleep, okay, because it's 4 and it's resting, and it's resting and resting and resting. And that I think that your partner was probably completely and utterly exhausted by the amount of work that they do. Okay, so here we go, it's coming now. The amount of work that they were doing. Sorry, I thought I was struggling through this deck, but it seems to be coming to light. That the person was absolutely exhausted because they had so many things to do that it feels the other person chose the wrong thing, which was work. Meaning like the other person chose to go to work other than the relationship. But it feels like the king was like really exhausted by the amount of work that they were doing, because they possibly own their own company or business, or they want to. So they're very focused on running their clock, okay? And that they run that to a T, okay? And they run their family as well for some, but they run things themselves to a T. But they weren't willing to look at the relationship on a date-by-date factor, because there could have been some kind of like codependency also to drinking and stuff like that that possibly freaks someone out, okay? Because it feels like someone wants the attention off the partner, but it feels like they're always tired because they're So this could be you, Aquarius, okay, that is always tired by the amount of work that you have to do, physical manual labour of work, okay, and that whilst you're at work, there's something that you're not quite seeing yet, that there are things there for you to take, but it feels like you don't want to take it, or it feels like that they don't, because it just feels like thin air. I think that trying to talk to your person, it feels like sometimes they're like in like outer space in a way, like they talking to them, it's just like thin air. It's trying to get their attention away from work, but they're focused on it a lot because they can't quite see their way out of their business yet. So if you're focused on your business, the other person wanted to communicate, but they realized that you were tired a lot, because there's a lot of tired. I'm tired. Thank you. So, wow. So these cards are very strange. I don't know if people have seen these. 6 of Wands. So someone is bowing down to someone. So you've got the 6. Okay, so they're having a lot of success at work. Okay, but it feels like someone wants the attention back. They want to get attention, but they are getting attention at work. So it feels like work was very difficult possibly to get the attention away from. Like if your partner was at work a lot and they were very tired, it's very difficult for you to, or was, to actually get their attention. Okay, and it played out and played out and played out, and I think that the person seems to think that you chose work over them, that work was more important, that you was getting success at work, or you were striving for success. This person is striving for success to make it as a company, but to make it at work. But I think that work as well is very overbearing for you at the moment, and I think that's what's driven a wedge between, you know, the relationship. But I feel that you are having success at work, but I feel the other partner just felt like it was very exhausting and tiring to actually keep up this appearance that everything was fine, because what you are focused on is your work a lot. Okay. Okay, wow, so wow, you really did go at it. This 5, look at this 5. Sorry, but look at this 5 of Swords. There are people going at this. So you had an argument. There was a possible like disagreement that someone could have been very cutting with their words. But this was a ruminating thought that someone played. It feels like someone played mind games on someone, okay? That they moved. This person, that's what I'm saying, you was probably very focused on your work, and they moved out after an argument that you'd probably thrown them out, or they moved out, but they went because they couldn't face this Wheel of Fortune, was meaning we're going to play the same cycle again, so we need a break. So there was probably a break, a break-up or a break period. This was a break-up more than likely. If you broke up for a period of time, the reason why was because work was in the way and someone was striving for success. Okay, but there was also some kind of mind game that was played via the internet as well, that someone was seeing and watching the internet, someone get or try to get a lot of success on the internet, or trying to get someone's attention on the internet, like Facebook or Twitter or something like that. And they were trying to, but they realized that if they communicated, that there could have been some kind of argument. So they pulled back slightly. Okay, they pulled back. They were worrying that what if you was going to say something. Okay, these 2 people are pulling back because they realised that this person could well say something harsh. So they pulled back. And then what happened is generally the same thing, is that they see that you were working extremely hard and focused on your career and your freedom. Some of you were fighting for physical freedom, literally fighting for your freedom. Okay, and if you was going through that physical fight of freedom, that you possibly argued a lot with the court system, because this would be fighting against the court, and this would be fighting against fighting at people of families and work, and they probably see that the conflict at family was still going on. There was some ongoing cycle, and it caused a wedge between you, because I think they were trying to get your attention to go towards them, but they realised that you had a lot of family commitments and that you also had a lot of work to do, but you were also overtired, and that the vibration felt really low, and that you sleep a lot. If you don't sleep a lot, because this is a bit like Lancelot, Lancelot or sleep a lot, okay? But it felt both ways, that there was a lot of rest and needed. So that was the break, that they needed a break, because they realised that you were focused on your work, and that every time they pick you up from work, if you was to pick up your partner, because this would be travelling, that if you was to pick them up in a car or something, that when you do that, they felt extremely tired, or it might have been very difficult for you to start talking amicably, because this person would talk amicably, but they possibly wouldn't show their emotions. And I think possibly because you wasn't showing your full emotion, it possibly freaked out the other person and you had an argument because they were trying to get your attention, to ask you to go out on a date maybe, or to reconcile in some way. So I just realised that in this 3, one of these cups is literally dropped on the floor and they're focused on these 2 here. So there was focused on the 2 of cups, very much so, okay, which is the family, and the love could be a Piscean, okay, 10. But I definitely feel that you had this ruminating cycle that went around to do with tiredness, work, exhaustion of ego that got in the way, work got in the way, dreams got in the way, and someone's aspirations of what they want to do musically or anything to do with like a dream state. I think there was a lot of dreams as well, physical dreaming about something happening. I think the other person was dreaming that something was going to happen, and that it physically did happen, that there was a separation. But I don't think it was anyone's fault. I just think that it was a lot to do with tiredness and work, physical work, manual labour. Okay, I think that your partner and you possibly work a lot, and there's a lot of manual labour. Well, there's a lot of work to do. I think someone felt a little bit like, as I heard, slave to the grave. Like there was like feeling like a slave to work, that you work a lot, and the person that works a lot felt like they were a slave to work. But I think they also enjoyed it slightly because they were getting success there. But it didn't do great for the relationship because there was an argument because of that. Okay? So at the moment, that is your what possibly happened. If that really did happen, okay, make sure that you leave a comment if you would, just to say that I was right with that, because I've never used this deck before. It's the first time pretty much, okay? Okay, Aquarius, so let me be honest with you. So I know that's just cut off, but I've decided actually not to do the present, and what we're going to do is look into the moment after. Okay, so we're going to look through one before and then straight onto after, so I can use this deck in order to actually clarify everything. So I do apologise for that break. I know I keep changing things, but hopefully that'll be better. So also what I'm picking up through this is that definitely something felt empty, but there's definitely some kind of illness that might have been in the family that might have been urgent, because there's some kind of urgency of a Taurian energy as well, because it feels like a Taurus is not in this relationship. So it feels like that work was definitely in the way, and that there was no relationship because work was in the way. But there also seems to be no Taurus here. Like there seems to be no Taurus. I keep picking up. There could be a Taurus energy that could have Scorpio in their chart, but a Taurus that seems to be resting, or a Taurus that could physically be ill, like physically ill. Okay, but they possibly had some good news to do with that, but there would have been discussions around it. But generally it feels like the relationship at the moment is struggling because it feels empty, because there's help that's needed from family. It feels that it's kind of like coming into the present moment as well, that there is an ailment or an ailment in the family, okay, ailment, and a possible serious one, could possibly be a serious one if you know that. Okay, and that can have anything to do with like alcohol or a physical ailment. And I feel that generally through this, there's a lot of families discussing certain things to do with this ailment here that is causing conflict. Now, with the relationship, I still feel the same, is that someone felt like that work took precedent over the relationship, because it felt like someone wasn't prepared to take a look at the option of love, because it just felt empty. Okay, it just felt empty. Someone felt emptied, like emotionally, because it felt like not drained. Well, it does feel like drained energy, because there's just too much work and there's too much sleep as well, that everything's taking over the relationship, and that seems to be family and also work, and also possibly for some a family member that could have an ailment. Okay, could have an ailment. So that is possibly, like I said before, what happened before. So now we will go on to your moment after. So what's going to happen after this now during the 15th until the 31st of January. So show me the moment after. What's going to happen after? What's going to happen now between the 15th and the 31st of January for Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising and Venus. Hopefully this should work out better, Aquarius. Let's see, Aquarius, what will happen now. So you got the Three of Cups. Sorry, some of these are in reverse. So you got Three of Cups again, so below the 3. So there will be reconciliation. Your person, I think that they just needed a moment of clarity of work to realise that there was a break between the relationship of rest and work, and that you will reunite with your person. You've got Pisces here twice. So there's 2 Pisces, 2 lots of Pisces. One of the family members could have Pisces in their chart, definitely through the 10. So it's definitely a lot to do with family and things like that. But at the start of the 15th, you will start to reunite with your person, and you will more than likely have time for this date. So if your person was working a lot, okay, and that there was a wedge drawn between you, between work, then you will have time for that, and this person feels like they will make time for you. But there possibly still needs to, this ego might still be here, where there's going to have to be a resolve of dropping each other's guards, because it feels like people were guarded, but it feels like through a low vibration because of work. You know, meaning that work was president for someone, but in because I keep hearing a president of someone might have wanted to be president. I don't know why I keep hearing that, but a company, a president of a company, or being promoted company-wise, where they landed a new job and they got that and they got the success, and that was an achievement for them, that it came back around through this world, that they got this job, but it caused conflict where this person possibly got the job, but they chose the job. Well, it doesn't feel like they chose the job, it just feels like the job chose them and they got it, but it feels like someone didn't quite agree with that, and it left the person feeling empty inside, that they didn't like really that the person's busy all the time, and it feels like work's in the way. Okay, definitely you've got like 5 and 5 here though, 4, but Hierophant is still 5, but generally, sorry. So this 3 also now still takes shape of leaving time for the relationship. Okay, so you go 5 to 2 to 7. So it feels like someone feels like they're going to be attacked in certain ways, but there will be some health that's put in, there will be a discussion, but someone's going to have to stand up to physically say something. Okay, 7 is going to be looking after one's health, so you might be looking after your health, but someone could be overindulging in alcohol, so they might be detoxing from something, because 7 of Wands, you're going to have to look at your health. There needs to be some kind of limitation of drawing a line in the sand to say that this is enough. Okay, so there might be a discussion about enough is enough. Okay, from the 15th until the 31st. Aquarius, 15th to the 31st. So the 7 of Swords, you see, running backwards and forwards, 2 7s, 2 7s, which is 14, which is 5, again, 5. I mean, what happens when 2 7s collide? You make 14, which is 5. So ego here, 5. So the ego clashes. This is an ego clash of the Titans. The 5 has to be dropped, okay? So it feels like a butting of heads, that there has to be resolve and conflict. It feels like someone possibly don't trust, because 7 is run backwards and forwards. So it feels like someone's running, but they're also avoiding. 7 avoids something, and 7 might seem as distrusting, but a 7 will also avoid conflict because it doesn't want to get into it. It doesn't want to get snagged up into this rope. So it wants to avoid saying something to prevent this 5 here. From the 15th until the 31st of January. Aquarius, from the 15th until the 31st of January. Aquarius. From the 15th until the 31st. I think you'll have a period where you do unite with a person and you do have a date, but it also feels like someone might be playing a game again, or it might be felt like that to the other person, because they realise that they have to make a decision. Okay, so it's good. Well, I mean, it's family, so you might have a lot of conflict with families as well. Okay, there might like a lot of there's like a go-between, a go-between the 6 of Cups and a go-between other family members that are drawing limits as well. There seems to be limitations being drawn at, I also heard work, but someone's overworked, but they just don't seem to trust the soulmate, but they don't seem to trust a family member either. You know, there's someone around the family that they try to avoid. Okay, so they're avoiding some kind of family conflict, but family, it feels like someone's running from the soulmate to go back to another 7, which is to go back to feeling defensive, offensive and defensive. Okay, so you got 10 of Cups, so it starts to come good. 6, 7, again, 7 of Cups, which is there. Okay, so they choose you, so they come back into your life again after running out. It feels like someone run out of your life, but they come back as a soulmate and to say that they love you, the 10 of Cups. Okay, so the 7 that produces itself there, that's why there was a breakup. So there will more than likely be a discussion about this here. Okay, but 7, 8, 9, 10, again, happiness. This is your life partnership, and this is your home life and reflection of what happens at home as well. So within your family dynamics and your soul groups, you will see a lot of people possibly frantic about trusting one another. Show me Aquarius, Sun, Rising of Venus from the 15th until the 31st of January. Sorry, but I've done 4 readings today already, and I'm a little bit depleted in energy, so you'll have to excuse me. But the Knight of Cups, there you go. So they come in again. So afterwards, I think they have a moment of clarity, and they realise that there needs to be a discussion to not be so defensive all the time. But they still feels that they're going to try to get your attention from family back to your own. There is someone that is very busy within the family, that they go left for family. They just do everything for family, just everything for family. Okay, and the 7 also will try to avoid a family conflict as well. So if there is a family desire of conflict, the 7 will also avoid it. So like they just keep bumping into the same scenarios that replay themselves over again. And it feels like there are defenses around the family, but there's a lot of desire to be with the soulmate at the same time. But this would be the people that you have definitely family with. You've definitely got a strong soulmate tie, okay? But the Knight of Cups comes in with a message of love to offer, again, to talk. Again, you see, so then it causes another 5. Again, ruminating thoughts. Someone constantly thinks these 5s here, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. It feels like someone's playing mind games with someone, because this 7 here is running away from 5 because it's carrying it, and it's running away from 5 again. That someone wants to continue to play out a cycle of something, meaning you're my soulmate and you're my partner and you're my love, but I'm just going to come in with an offer, but I don't know whether I'm going to accept it or not. It's ego. It's really getting in the way of someone. Definitely here, that's what caused this conflict for a start here, was a lot to do with work, which is 5, which is the relationship that's missing from 4. Okay? So the relationship is there, but so is work. So is work and so is life. But it feels like there's going to be a lot of running around for people. But there also feels like there's going to be arguments around this Knight of Cups coming in to say something. It depends on what they're going to say. Because it can be a ruminating thought that someone's playing mind games with them, or their mind is literally playing tricks on themselves. Because it ruminates. So it feels like someone wants success and victory, but it feels like they might use a tactic to get it their own way. Meaning like, well, I'll just use something against you and say that it was you, when really it was me, and really it was you, and you know, continue on this reading, please, for Aquarius. So you got the Hangman and you got the Ten of Wands. So what will happen after is that you're going to have to drop the defences, because there's possibly going to be some kind of discussion about 3, which is here, about this relationship that's here, right under here, 2 3s, about going out on dates and not delaying things and not delaying the relationship of work, and that the fact that it's tiring here, that the relationship has to move forward. Okay, so people are going to have to drop their defenses. There's going to be a lot of work to do, but your partner is possibly really busy here. It could be a Pisces that's extremely exhausted and busy because they're carrying a lot of burdens and they're carrying a lot of job responsibilities. This person always will carry a lot of responsibilities. Okay, so it feels like it's exhausting their energy to have to do everything, but I think you're both going through it as well. Let's see, what else can I see? It feels like, it don't feel like a delay, but it does. It feels like a hesitation, like someone's going to hesitate to do with something. Hesitation. Because they're exhausted by the amount of work that here has to be done. The 7 is going between families and going between stuff. And they're doing stuff for their family, for their work. They're also their love partner. But they're also getting delayed and caught up in time and the amount of stuff that they have to do. And it's causing someone to feel over-oppressed. Like, probably not depressed, but over-depressed. Meaning there's so much to do to carry the relationship of the weight of the relationship. So it feels like someone here is just literally hanging on by a thread. They're hanging on by a thread and they're literally grasping hold of this wand to say, well, I've got one more go, but I'm just holding on. So someone's just holding on. Just holding on. So we're going to leave it at that, Aquarius, at the moment. That's both of your readings, but we're going to continue on with your timeline and see what's going to happen between now, which is the 15th, and then all the way through to the 31st. And then I'll clarify these cards with another deck that will give me more of a deeper look to see what this really means, because some of these can be separate energies of family and stuff as well. But I am tired, so I really do apologise if your reading was very sporadic. But that is your reading so far. If you want to join, you can join Patreon. You can have a look at the link below and see what you think. I really would appreciate that if you can join Patreon. Also, a thumbs up, all that kind of stuff. I really would appreciate it. If you want a personal reading, you can also reach out below in the email or join any of the websites that I've got going in the bio box below. Okay, Aquarius, that's your reading so far. Thanks very much, guys, and I'll hopefully catch you over on Patreon.